What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today we're going to change it up a little bit and we're going to go through some racing returns that I recently got back in the mail. It's been a while since I posted any NASCAR racing type of videos, so I thought why not send a few of these out, see how much I can get closer to finishing the set. And what am I talking about? The first return is from former NASCAR great Ward Burton on 1. And this is one of those cards that I picked up that used to come with a car, with it. So I included that. But more importantly, I added 2 more of these press pass vintage cards that I picked up the set, a little while back with about, 10 to 15 autographs already in it. So I'm really trying to complete this entire 36 card set signed. So we got a little step closer by getting Ward Burton back. So let me tell you about Ward Burton and his career in racing. So Ward Burton is actually named John Edward Burton III, and he took the name Ward so to be unique to his his father and grandfather. He is also the father of Jeb Burton and also the brother of NASCAR driver Jeff Burton. Well, over his career that lasted 13 years in the NASCAR Cup Series, he was in 375 races. He also spent 161 races over a 10-year period starting in 1990 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. During his time in the Xfinity Series, he would have 4 wins, 7 poles, and 50 top 10 finishes throughout his career. After the racing season in 1993, he would move up to the NASCAR Cup Series, and from 1993 all the way through 2007, he would compete in 375 races over that 13-year span. Well, he would win 5 of those, finishing in the top 10 82 times of the 375 times. His final race would be in 2007 at Martinsville at the Subway 500 for that series, and he would also finish in 2007 at the Carfax 250 in the Xfinity Series. The neat thing about Burton is aside from his racing background, he's an avid sportsman, and in 2005 he was actually appointed by then Governor Mark Warner to the Virginia Board of Game and Inland Fisheries, and he also began the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation. In addition to being on the Virginia Board of Game and Inland Fisheries, he served as a congressman for the 5th Congressional seat and 5th Congressional District seat, in Virginia. So he's had a political career, he's had a NASCAR career, and everything else. Like I said, he's the father of Jeb Burton and the brother of Jeff Burton, and very happy to add Mr. Burton's autograph to the collection, getting a little bit closer and getting this set signed. So in that same breath, I wrote this person in the past and featured him on my channel. And he is also in this set, this vintage set. And at just 88 years old, I figured I'm going to probably send a couple more to him and then I'll leave the guy alone. And who am I talking about? None other than one of the most legendary NASCAR drivers ever, Ned Jarrett. And he signed this one for my set, but he also signed a second one, and they look really nice in that black Sharpie. This one didn't turn out so well because he kind of signed it in the dark part of the card. It is signed, but the camera just may not give it justice, for where it's signed at. And as you can tell, I'm getting pretty desperate with my Ned Jarrett's, as I actually sent a picture of him driving his car. So I think literally, with the exception of maybe a chrome version of this card or whatever it's called, I'm out of Ned Jarrett cards. So I'm very happy to get this Ned Jarrett back for my set. This is, probably going to be one of those sets that is impossible to complete, but I want to try to complete it the best that I can, and I'm very, very happy to get it back. I'm not going to speak too much about Ned Jarrett in this video, but I am going to link the original video right up here in the corner and also at the end of this video and down in the description. But I don't want you to feel cheated by watching this, by me not at least talking a little bit about the greatness of Ned Jarrett, because I kind of already covered it at length. But let me just kind of hit the career highlights and we'll go from there. Jarrett's career in racing would last many decades. And not only was he a driver, a successful driver at that, one of the top 50 drivers in the history of the sport, he also was an announcer for many, many years. So many of you probably grew up listening to Ned Jarrett or watching Ned Jarrett at one point in his career. And his first race started in 1953 when he was very, very young. And that first race was kind of by accident, as he was a fill-in for another race car driver. Well, his career would span so many years, and he would accumulate 50 wins throughout his racing career at the professional level. Over his 13-year career in the NASCAR Cup Series, he finished first twice, in the overall standings in 1961 and 65. His last race would come in 1966 at the American 500 in Rockingham. At just the age of 34, Jarrett retired from NASCAR, and to this day, Jarrett is the only driver to retire as the NASCAR champion in his final season. After his time as a driver, he did work in real estate. He also worked in Hickory at the Hickory Motor Speedway as a promoter, and as I mentioned, as a racing announcer, starting early, even during his racing career in the early 60s. And he did that for many, many years for different organizations such as CBS, ESPN. Another thing to mention is that he is the father of two NASCAR drivers. Both his sons, Glenn and Dale Jarrett, were also drivers. I mean, they weren't as hugely successful as their father, but both did compete at the highest level. So I'm very happy to add Mr. Jarrett to the collection. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole catalog of his career because I've already done that, but I just wanted to hit the career highlights. I'm very happy to get two more for that collection back in the mail. All right, so finally, I got around to sending to this guy, and when I got the set, that's what sent it over the top. And I did receive a return from another NASCAR legend, and that is former driver, owner, etc., Cale Yarborough on one. A second makes two. A third of him driving, same set as that Jarrett card, makes three. And a fourth on this Donruss Elite special card that came out in the baseball card set, I believe, of all things, a couple years back. But you can see that he personalized each one. I'm pretty sure that that's pretty much his thing nowadays. My philosophy is I'd rather have a personalized autograph than not have one at all, especially when I'm trying to complete this set. Odds of me seeing Cale are very slim, especially since, he's also in his 80s now. You can see on this card that his career spanned from 1957 to 1988 in NASCAR, and that's just amazing that somebody lasted that long in the sport. But let me tell you about Cale Yarborough and his contribution to racing. In the NASCAR Cup Series, Yarborough competed in over 560 races. Well, not over. He competed in 560 races over a 31-year career. His career started in 1957, as the card indicates, and his last race was in 1988. I mean, over that time period, 83 wins, 319 top tens, and 69 poles in the Busch Series. His 83 wins ties him for 6th on the all-time wins list with Jimmy Johnson for the Cup Series. His first racing would take place in 1957, racing a Pontiac for Bob Weatherly. He would spend his time with Weatherly, then would move on to different owners, or different teams I should say, throughout the 1960s. He would race through the 1957 season, like I mentioned, all the way through 1988, just accumulating so many records, so many different ownerships, I guess you would say. And finally, towards the end of his career in 1986, Yarborough would purchase his own racing farm team and finish out his career through 1988 with them. After his 88 retirement, Dale Jarrett, Ned Jarrett's son, would drive his car for his ownership. 1990, Jarrett was replaced by Dick Trickle, and after that there'd be a long line of different drivers that would drive for Yarborough Racing. That would include Lake Speed, Dorsey Schroeder, Chuck Brown, Randy LaHoy, Chad Little, Bobby Hillman Jr., and Jimmy Hensley. Yarborough held ownership of the team through 2000 until he sold, and after the new buyer bought the team disbanded and never really was back in the NASCAR circuit. So, to summarize, I'm just going to read some of the accolades off of his Wikipedia page here. We'll start with the achievements. He was the 1976, 77, 78 Winston Cup Series champion, the 84 IROC champion, the 68, 77, 83, 84 Daytona 500 winner. He was the 68, 73, 74, 78, 82 Southern 500 winner, 78, 84 Winston 500 winner, 85 Talladega 500. He holds the Winston Cup Series modern era record for most poles in a season with 14 that he set in 1980. Some of the awards that he has received: he was 1967 most popular driver. He was inducted into the International Motorsports Hall of Fame in 1993. He was inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, so 2 different Hall of Fames, in 1994. He was the 1977 American Driver of the Year. He was elected to the South Carolina Hall of Fame in 1978. He's on the Talladega Walk of Fame in 1996. And like Ned Jarrett, he was considered one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers in 1998. And of course, he was elected in the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2012. So I could talk for 30 minutes just about Cale Yarborough if I wanted to. I strongly recommend, check out his stats below. You'll just be amazed with his 30 years plus career in racing. But I'm very happy to get the autograph. It's not the strongest autograph. It's personalized. I obviously would have preferred it being Sharpie. I think I might have another copy of this, so maybe I'll try to resend again in the future. But to get Ned Jarrett and Cale Yarborough to sign these cards, as well as the action cards, I guess you'll call them, is a huge, huge success. Not to mention adding all these sideways cards. I'm not used to this. Not to mention adding Ward Burton to the mix, and also getting Ward Burton to sign the NASCAR vintage card as well. So very happy to get 2 of those from Ward. I also had the old version of the Trax card there, or Max, not Trax, excuse me. But I also had that. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I look forward to your comments below. I know I changed it up a bit, talking racing, but I'm trying, like I said, to collect this set signed. So I got 3 steps closer getting those 36 cards signed. Look forward to your comments below. Happy collecting.